Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Luigi here, and I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, as you probably expect at this point in time. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion for the Nintendo GameCube / Nintendo 3DS as a remake. Mind you, we're still playing the GameCube version because it's more of a superior version in my opinion, so like I've on about this already. So anyways, so last time we've essentially did manage able to finish up the main game by defeating King Boo, but also with Bowser as well, despite the fact that Bowser's been controlled by King Boo, but I suppose it really doesn't matter, because obviously we did somehow defeated King Boo, and on top of that, we somehow rescued Mario, and on top of that, we ended up with a rank B ending right there, as you can clearly see. So as a result, we haven't got that much, despite the fact that we hopefully were able to save that particular topic until for later. So, and as you can tell, we did somehow manage able to fill up the entire gallery, as you can tell. Mind you, we've almost gotten almost every single gold frames, so as a result, what I've double checked anyway, is that I think we've only got about roughly 4 silvers, and the majority of certain other picture frames, we did somehow got 19 of those gold frames. So, yeah, including by defaults of the final one, which appears to be, King Boo and Bowser, always located on the forms of the Golden Room. So, yeah, it makes a little bit more of a perfect fit, kind of thing about it, especially concerning about the fact that that was number 23, according to the forms of that particular number framed, as what it's currently in. So because of that, yeah, today for this video is about the fact that not only we can able to play the entire game again, because obviously in order able to get the true 100% experience in the game, is that we can now able to actually traverse into the Hidden Mansion. Specifically, the PAL version of this particular Hidden Mansion, because it does have a lot of changes around here. Likely or so, because obviously we're about to get this thing started. So, now note for the fact that the intro sequence does not happen in during the forms of the Hidden Mansion, because obviously we've already experienced the intro sequence during the forms of the earliest points of the entire playthrough so far. So naturally speaking, it's about the fact that we don't need to worry about trying to do some more of the training practices and all that stuff. So yeah, let's entering this mansion for presumably the final time. Because if we enter in this particular Hidden Mansion playthrough, you realize the entire room has been completely flipped. So as a result, everything else is all mirrored. So meaning about the fact that it's entirely flipped over like I said before. So it feels very similar as the forms of how it does it between the GameCube version of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, from not only for the GameCube, but also on the Wii version as well. Like also, the GameCube version is almost like a normal layout, and then compared to the forms of how it does on the Wii version, that is obviously the entire game is flipped over. So because of that, well, usually you're still able to experience the exactly same game, but just with flipped over layout. So as you can tell about the fact that, yeah, everything else is completely changed around here. But not only that, there are certain ghosts you might able to come across into in the earliest points of the game that it might consider to be a little bit more tougher. So, and as a result, the actual main emphasis on this mode remains the same. So obviously, I'm still going to able to try my best able to find not only certain speedy spirits, but also with certain gold mice as well. So ultimately speaking, it's about the fact that I'm essentially trying to able to go after rank A, which is essentially the best rank in the game. So obviously you still need to collect some more of those money and all what have you, so even then though everything else is pretty much unchanged, when it comes to a certain condition and all that stuff, when it comes to that particular ranking is as far as I'm concerned. So, it is definitely possible this time around able to actually get the rank A in this mode, so although, unlike the forms of how it does it on the NTSC version, between both the American version and the Japanese version, the entire layout remains the same. Although, the noticeable differences being is that, well, I suppose I should probably explain more details about this in a moment. So, anyways though, Yeah, today's date, of course, is the 23rd of October today, in some cases in 2023 today. Naturally speaking, it's about the fact that we've only just got about 8 more days to go until Halloween is about to start. And on top of all that stuff, though, you probably already know is about the fact that recently, Jewel, she recently finished up with her Let's Play of Super Castlevania 4. So as a result, I think, relatively speaking, we've only got one more Castlevania Let's Play left for this year, until we're able to wrap things up for the first half of these specific selections for certain Castlevania games, which is, to be more specifically, we only have to do Castlevania Bloodlines, and that'll be about it, basically. So because of that, though, yeah, that particular topic can wait until specifically the upcoming weekend, specifically between both 28th to 29th of October. And relatively speaking, it's about the fact that we've only just got about 9 more days to go until November is about to begin. So because of that, yeah, we'll pretty much have to save that particular topic until for later time, especially concerning for the fact that, well, if you already noticed right from the start, though, is about the fact that obviously Sonic Frontiers continuation parts is officially being delayed until specifically the beginning portion of November. It was originally going to be able to be scheduled in during the forms of some time on the 7th of November, but as it turns out about the fact that maybe we can probably give Sonic Frontiers another chance until specifically the 2nd of November during the forms of on Thursday or sometime. So because of that, yeah, because obviously Sonic still needs able to try to practice some hardest aspects about the forms of the Final Horizon DLC update. But regardless of such, though, is about the fact that at this point in time, that I'm having a lot of fun playing not only Sonic Superstars, but also with the forms of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And speaking of which, I've recently completed the main story in Journey forms of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and my goodness, that was an incredible journey indeed. Now, I think I still suffice to say, I can highly recommend Super Mario Bros. Wonder. For those of you all the Nintendo Switch owners out there, you should definitely recommending the game. So, and quite frankly, according to the forms of Metacritic, it did somehow receive Super Mario Bros. Wonder as in 93% out of 100, which I think is actually, to me, a really dang good score. Especially concerning for the fact that, obviously, Nintendo Switch is actually doing super duper well for the sake of the forms of this year so far, which, as a result, well, in terms of the forms of some first-party titles, which are, you know what I'm saying, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, as well as the forms of Metroid Prime Remastered, and especially noticeable, of course, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, and Pikmin 4, Pikmin 1+2, and now Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So, I mean, maybe we can probably expect that Super Mario RPG might also get its really dang good review score, especially concerning for the fact that for those who have not experienced the original Super Nintendo classic title, then you do finally able to get a chance to play this amazing RPG game ever made for the sake of the forms of Mario's first ever Mario RPG adventure. So, even though it's a bit tricky to explain, because I know for a fact it's been about quite a few months ago since we've last played the original version of Super Mario RPG, kind of thinking about it, because obviously I've been busy playing, you know, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and actually, as it turns out, that I've managed able to discover, not only does one of those characters actually got voice actors replaced, but same applies with the forms of, well, Daisy, and on top of that, Nappet as well. So, because of that, though, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see the forms of certain voice actors have been replaced. So, but even then, again, that particular topic can wait until tomorrow. But as you can tell, we've already managed able to found the first Speedy Spirit. And by the way, something's worth noting for it is that thankfully the Speedy Spirits and the Gold Mice are all in exactly the same place. So because of that, no need for randomizing placements or anything, unlike the 3DS version, where basically certain Speedy Spirits, including Gold Mice, in the forms of the Hidden Mansion playthrough, they all basically switch around into different locations. So, now as you can tell, the reward system, when it comes to obtaining or catching not only Speedy Spirits, but also with Gold Mice as well, that the rewards are entirely different, which as a result, we've already got the first diamond already during the forms of Area 1. So, yeah, it is definitely possible you can able to actually get rank A on this particular mode, because you can still technically get the rank A during the course of the NTSC version for its normal mansion playthrough. Likely also you do need to get about 100 million gold, at least as far as I'm concerned. So because of that, yeah, there might be a couple of times, as you can tell, for this particular hidden mansion playthrough, that I'm obviously going to be keep on saving a lot during the forms of this particular playthrough, because not only I can able to actually aim to try to get rank A, but also about the fact that I will eventually try to able to get myself the last 4 gold frames for certain portrait ghosts. So, because obviously, as you can tell, the actual, the suction for the sake of the forms of portrait ghost 3000 has been upgraded. So, because normally, in during forms of the normal mansion playthrough, sometimes it takes a bit of time to able to drain certain ghosts' health, and in addition to that, it might actually cause you to able to actually get massive screw-overs if you decide to go for the best results for obtaining certain gold frames for certain portrait ghosts. Well, luckily though, the hidden mansion mode, basically the actual function has been upgraded, so you can able to drain certain health a lot faster than you thought it was. So, speaking of the actual health though, is that I'm afraid to tell you, this is where the forms of the hidden mansion playthrough is actually going to get a lot more difficult, especially noticeable because as you can tell, certain ghost types are now appeared way more earlier than the forms of how it does on the late portion of the playthrough. Like, for instance, we've come across into blue pounders early on throughout the majority of this mode. And in addition to that, though, is about the fact that certain ghosts are gonna get a little bit more tricky to deal with. Although, unlike the forms of how it does on the 3DS version, that basically, though, the health amount is actually increased by 5%. So because of that, yeah, like for instance, on the GameCube version of Hidden Mansion playthrough, that basically though, the amount of health they've got is pretty much unchanged. So as a result, you're still able to come across into 10 health for gold ghosts, as well as 20 health for pink punchers, and 30 health for blue pounders. And vice versa when it comes to portrait ghosts as well. Likely also, they still managed to got themselves 100 health. Well, the only exception being is, of course, King Boo, because obviously King Boo still has 500 health. So, although, unlike the 3DS version, they somehow increased the amount of health. So, for example, as we're about to be able to take care of the forms of Neville for the second and probably the final time for this playthrough, is that normally in the GameCube version he still has 100 health. However, on the 3DS version he does have 150 HP. Likely also that there is actually a 4th frame you can be able to get. Well, it's only on the 3DS version, and that's what appears to be the Platinum frame. And by doing so, is that I'm presuming to you that you do need to able to actually suck up as many of those health as you can for certain boss encounters. But even then though, I suppose that particular topic can wait until tomorrow. So because of that, so far we actually got 2 diamonds so far, which is actually a really good sign. Especially because it actually gives us a lot of value if you keep on collecting more of those diamonds, which, potentially speaking, that I will try my best if I decide able to go after every single Speedy Spirits and Gold Mice during the forms of this particular run-through. So, but even then though, of course, it will still remain the same. So because of that, yeah, it looks like we actually got 1 Gold Mice in Journey forms of the Hidden Mansion so far. So, anywho though, so yeah, a few things I want to explain before I continue things on in Journey forms of some differences between the normal mansion playthrough compared to the hidden mansion playthrough is that, well, if you couldn't tell already, it looks like one of those SpongeBob SquarePants games has recently celebrated its 17th anniversary, which by the looks of all that stuff though, what if I found out, happy 17th anniversary of the game's release of SpongeBob SquarePants Creature from the Krusty Krab. Which, while looking back on it though, it's okay. I mean, I've experienced the game before, back in when we first got ourselves on Nintendo Wii, alongside with the forms of Wii Sports and WarioWare Smooth Moves. And in fact, to me though, that both Wii Sports and WarioWare Smooth Moves are the best highlights for our Wii games department. But I don't know, something about looking back on the Wii version of SpongeBob SquarePants Creature from the Krusty Krab, I don't know, the Wii version is probably the worst version of the game, mainly because it heavily utilizes a lot of motion control stuff, and on top of that, I feel like the gameplay feels a bit too repetitive for my liking, because personally speaking though, I much rather play every now and then. I prefer playing through Battle for Bikini Bottom, including by the forms of the most recently, the Cosmic Shake. Oh yeah, speaking of which though, I can assure you the PS5 version, including the Xbox Series X version of the Cosmic Shake, has recently came out. So yeah, perfect timing for those if you really want to try out that particular cool game on the next generation of consoles, either on the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, and you name it. So, and also you do realize about the fact that we now actually got ourselves a star icon right next to the Game Boy Horror, which basically what that stands for is that I think, relatively speaking, it just tells you that you've basically done one playthrough so far, which that's the reason why that little number green box thing, if you try to save the game, you do realize that we've encountered number 1 on that particular save slot, which means you did somehow manage to complete the game once. So, and if you try to complete the game for a second time, it now shows 2, and vice versa if you keep on replaying the game. So because of that, yeah, it feels like an archaic experience, all things considered, but I really do like that particular detail as far as I'm usually concerned with, even though, mind you, it's been about 3 days ago since we've last played this game for sure, because obviously, like I said before, that recently we've completed Super Castlevania 4, so because of that, yeah, it feels like about the fact, no matter what though, is about the fact that it looks like 2023 is almost approaching towards these ending particular conclusions, but then again though, that particular topic can wait. I know I'm saying this a lot by the way, because honestly, well, not much else is going on, aside from the fact that one of those anniversary things, like I've briefly mentioned about this earlier, so... Anyways, though, so of course, about the fact, no matter what, though, is about the fact that, oh yeah, let's get to the forms of the huge differences between the forms of not only the normal mansion playthrough, and the Hidden Mansion, respectively, is that certain boss encounters, specifically only 2 of them most likely, which are Shunsei and, especially noticeable with Boo Losses coming up, they both manage to have a lot of differences around here, so because of that, making things a little bit more difficult and challenging at the same time. So as a result, yeah, wish me luck on this part. Although, thankfully though, I've already technically got both of those gold frames already, during the course of the main normal mansion playthrough. Like we already know that we've already got all these gold frames for both Chun-Li and Boo Losses, including Bokmare and King Boo, respectively. I don't have to worry about just getting myself a silver frame or a bronze frame, because let me tell you, certain boss encounters might feel to be a little bit challenging this time around. Oh, in addition to that, if you check on certain furnitures, as you can see, that I somehow accidentally opened up a poison mushroom decides to pop up in one of those chests. So, yeah, you have to able to try our best if we're able to actually avoid the poison mushroom at all costs, because otherwise, you will potentially try to lose a whole bunch of coins of yours. So, and oh boy, whenever we get to the blackout segment, my god, it'll be a lot more harder this time around, mainly because of certain ghost encounters you might able to bump into. So, oh goody, we actually got ourselves out of 50 HP right here. So, the reason why I have to try to rank up as many of my health as much as I can, just because I really refused able to get myself my first game over on this run. Although, trust me, what I'm saying is that the Hidden Mansion playthrough on the PAL version is actually a lot harder than the forms of how it does it on the NTSC counterparts. Like, For instance, I noticed there's actually 2 ways that what makes this different on the NTSC version. Likely also, Luigi takes twice as much damage when hurt, and on top of that, the Poltergust 3000 is 1.5x stronger in addition to improving its reliability in regard to capturing ghosts, and this helps improve Luigi's chance of earning larger pearls and thus acquire nicer frames for the portrait ghosts. So yeah, that's what I mean when it comes to the forms of the regular portrait ghosts, for that matter. So even then, you probably get the idea about this particular solution. So, and this gives me a better chance for me when it comes to not only getting gold frames, not just by the forms of Biff Atlas, but all the way up to, let's just say, Sir West Terrain during the forms of cold storage. So hopefully though, I should able to get my second chance for able to actually get the gold frame as much as I can. So here we go on to the forms of the Hidden Mansion version of Chun-Li, and my god, that attack looks a lot different. Like, for instance, is that, obviously, in Chun-Li's rocking horses, as you can tell, they're now a lot more bigger, and also sways left to right this time instead of going straight. So because of that, yeah, that makes things a little bit trickier than the forms of how it does it on the normal mansion playthrough, but luckily he still managed to have himself about 100 HP, so because of that, you should be able to actually just drain his health for about twice of the actual suction. So, and also he moves way faster than before, likely when if he's trying to pull up with a pound attack. So, generally speaking, the Hidden Mansion playthrough is going to be a little bit more tough for us, which, for the life of me, this is actually the first time I've able to actually experience this mode in my whole entire life. Although technically I've already managed able to experience this before on the 3DS version, but my goodness gracious me, certain speedy spirits, and not only that, certain gold mice as well, are definitely a little bit trickier to find on the 3DS version this time around. I mean, relatively speaking though, that's as far as I can usually think about this. So, but for the most part, the first boss is relatively easy, assuming of course I somehow managed to get myself my silver frame, but that's okay, because obviously my gold frame is still in place. So, yeah, I guess that's better than nothing, I suppose. Especially that unlike, well, it's kind of like the forms of how it does it on certain Sonic the Hedgehog games, all the way back in 2001, from the likes of Sonic Adventure 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. If you get the A rank for the first time, then you should be all good to go. But if you come back into the same level again, but with a different rank, basically, it does not carry it over. So because of that, you don't need to worry about getting the E rank or anything else like that. So, but anyway, Area 1 is done within just about, according to the forms of the time of this recording, it's roughly 20 or so minutes, because obviously you're still able to experience the exactly same rooms as before, except now they sometimes manage to make things a little bit trickier when it comes to placing certain ghosts every now and then. And not only that, certain blue mouses are now appeared quite frequently for certain rooms. So yeah, there's the silver frame right there of Chun-Li, for those of you who are curious. So, but eventually at this point and onwards though, is about the fact that maybe I'll try my best if I was just able to complete certain areas in the quickest time if possible. But even then though, sometimes it's all depending on the forms of how many ghost encounters I'm also able to come across into. Likely also for its ambush segments. So yeah, the actual money value is actually ridiculously higher than the forms of how it does on the first time experiencing Area 1. So it's now 40 million, so yeah, that should be good to go. So, but either way though, let's get back into the Hidden Mansion. Although before I do that, I need to double check, yep, I still got the gold frame of Chun-Li. So, however, unlike the 3DS version as a remake, you can able to actually change the picture frames as your style, but I'm probably not gonna able to talk more about it until for tomorrow, because, relatively speaking though, Area 1 in the Hidden Mansion is done. So, it's not the perfect run, but at least I tried. So because of that, yeah, we'll get the endings off this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion for the Nintendo GameCube/Nintendo 3DS. Is about the fact that we're about to start Area 2 in the Hidden Mansion. So I'll see you guys until tomorrow. Later, fellas.